Hi everyone, my name is Adam Osman. I'm the Head of Marketing at Dux-Soup and welcome to today's webinar. I'm especially pleased to welcome my colleague Joe Henderson from the marketing team.
Hi guys.
Hi Joe. And our fantastic speaker today, Tyron Giuliani, the founder of Selling Made Social. How are you doing, Ty?
Awesome, really excited to be here.
Brilliant. So before we start, just wanted to cover a few brief housekeeping points. I know some of you are already playing with the console or the user interface. Just wanted to talk through a couple of things. On the right-hand side of your screen, we've got, I'm just going to look at my phone so I'm seeing what you see. You've got a number of links that you can access various resources and 4 boxes. So the first box is signing up for the Dux-Soup trial. It's a 2-week free trial. As we say, no credit card, no commitment. We really encourage people to sign up to the trial. It's 14 days, although Tyron's going to give you a 10-day blueprint. You've got a little bit of leeway there. But the whole idea is you get the most value from this session if you're able to go away and start implementing some of these ideas, frameworks, tips and tricks as soon as possible. If you're interested in podcasts, we have now a fantastic podcast, as the screen says, Trusted Experts and Tangible Results. I say it's fantastic. I'm the host and Tyron was the first guest. So you can't get much more fantastic than that. If you want to listen to a slightly different version of his journey with LinkedIn automation, it's a really good lesson. For anyone who's interested in a demo or an onboarding session afterwards, click the book demo button. We can really help people get up to speed. And if you're at all interested in running multiple profiles, so if you are maybe an agency running campaigns for multiple clients, or you're lucky enough to have access to profiles of other people in your organization, you can combine the activity for really accelerated outreach. And there's some additional buttons along the bottom if you want to give us a reaction, a thumbs up, and also the button with the question mark is where we ask you to put in questions. When I first had Tyron on our webinar, the questions were off the scale. People really had detailed questions about how these tips and tricks will work in their specific scenario. And Ty did a fantastic job of just taking everyone through those answers. So I know some people like to join a webinar and they jump off and they think, I'll watch the replay later. The webinar is being recorded, but you get the most value, I think, by watching it live and then posing your questions directly to Tyron. My guess is that everyone is here because they want to understand how to use LinkedIn better. So maybe you've dabbled with LinkedIn, maybe you think you're pretty good. But we're here because, in our outreach, we talked about, getting a 60 to 94% acceptance rate. We talked about how to close, multi 10-figure deals and doing it quickly. And Tyron's put together a fantastic checklist, which you can use after the webinar to take you through all of these strategies. But a little bit about our speaker. I had the pleasure of interviewing Tyron for a case study, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And what immediately blew me away is this guy really knew his stuff. I followed him on LinkedIn. I've joined his Facebook group. I'm a really big fan. Personally, I think Tyron is one of the foremost experts in the world on LinkedIn outreach, and he's crushing it. But he doesn't stay still. To stay on top of his game, I know he is constantly innovating, he's constantly evolving, and he's constantly growing his strategy. If you follow him on LinkedIn, you can see he's constantly seeing what's everyone else doing. How can I utilize their tips within my strategy? So the presentation you're about to see now is probably reasonably different and evolved from the one he first delivered for me sort of 4 years ago. But one final fun fact about Tyron before I go. For me, he's a really great example of a serial successful entrepreneur. Interestingly, he's an Aussie. He lives in Japan and he doesn't like sushi. I'm sure that's a story for another day, but I'm sure you will not just like, you will love the content Tyron is going to take you through. Tyron, over to you.
Great, thank you. So I'm just going to be sharing my screen, guys, and just excuse me as obviously technical. I'm not so great with the tech, surprisingly. But let me get into here. Okay, so just to let me know when you can see it, Adam.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, great. So welcome, everyone. Now, I've done, I think, maybe 4 or 5 webinars for Dux-Soup before, and some of them were tactical and some were more about strategy. This one, I am unapologetic that this is really content heavy, dense. And the reason I'm making it like this is because over the last 12 months, LinkedIn has absolutely changed. The way that we can use LinkedIn, it has never been like this before. And what I still see are these gurus on LinkedIn that are talking about making all this money and doing all this stuff. And I know they're not, because they're talking about tactics that were relevant in 2020, 2021, but they're ignoring the changes that have occurred in LinkedIn. And they also sell this big idea that it's so easy to make money. It is not easy to make money on LinkedIn. You have to have a strategy and you have to have many moving parts. So this webinar, it's going to be thick. I'm sorry, normally I do a lot of demo, but I really want to draw back the curtain and show you this is the reality of when you set up a LinkedIn sales funnel or a sales engine. And especially now when you can add automation tools like Dux-Soup and you can add AI to the mix and the way things have changed on LinkedIn. I'm going to talk about all of that. So as we hit it, this is going to be a complete system for turning Dux-Soup into a revenue machine. So I'm sure you've all got this powerful tool, or maybe you're kind of testing it out, but you're not seeing the results you hope for. So imagine this, you get it, and it's just not working. That may be some of you may just kick home runs, which is awesome. Maybe you're currently using it and you're stuck at connection rates, like you send out a connection note to someone and you're getting 10 to 25%. Well, my clients, they're getting 60, 75% normally, and as high as 93%. I'll show you exactly how we do that. And this myth, don't send connection notes, it's a myth because they're sending connections to the wrong person at the wrong time with the wrong message. I never, ever send a prospect that I'm trying to get into a conversation with, I never not use a connection note, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you exactly how. Also response rates, maybe they're hovering at that kind of 2 to 5%. We want to get that up, kind of 15 to 30. Now, some of my clients, they do better than me because they're selling kind of, everyone's selling LinkedIn services, but some of my clients sell really funky kind of cool things, and they're getting that 45, 50, 60% response rate, which is awesome. Maybe you're feeling that you're working harder, but really you're actually not working smarter, and we want to make sure that we can do that. None of the messages are leading to an opportunity to pitch your business. We get so afraid of the pitch slap. We get told by these gurus, don't pitch, don't do this, don't do that. Rubbish, pitch, 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 pitch. Unless you're pitching, you're not making sales. It is what it is. And the only inbound that you're probably getting, it's kind of people trying to sell you something, right? That kind of sucks. You open up your LinkedIn, it's everyone trying to sell you. So the underperforming automation problem, what I see is what's holding you back. It's those random ICP targeting, your ideal client profile. You are likely targeting the wrong people, and I'll show you how to change that forever. You're probably using generic message templates, right? They suck. As you know, they suck because you're here. You don't have a follow-up strategy, so your conversations kind of fizzle out. There's nothing that you're doing to get people remembering you and staying top of mind. And your profile optimization is ignored. So visitors that come to your profile don't convert. And it's not just about, I'll change the about section, I'll put a nice banner. That's rubbish. There's a whole host of things that you can do on LinkedIn that changes it so it's more like a landing page, and we'll talk about that. Now, what is this costing you? Every day of inefficient outreach, you are leaving money on the table. Your competitors are closing your ideal clients. They're getting that extra revenue. They're driving them into market. They're getting more market share, and the cycle repeats, and you're sitting there like, this isn't working. And we've all been there. So I want to give you a complete system overview. So this is really important. And again, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. This is dense material, but it is so important because I don't want you going out and hiring some guru or buying some course when they make it sound like just press the button, everything will be easy. It's never been. If it was like that, I would be buying their stuff. It's simple. If someone has a better system than me, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. So there's a few different things. There's a foundation layer. And what I mean by that is we've got to get our profile and we have to get our assets together that are going to convert visitors. And I'll talk about exactly what they are. So before we even go out there and start messaging people, we've got to get the foundation layer correct. Then we've got to get our targeting layer correct, and that is high intent prospect identification. High intent means people that are raising their hand and they're saying, I have a problem and I want to solve it, right? That's who we want to pitch to. We don't want to pitch to people that aren't even aware they have a problem, don't even think they need to fix something. And that's what happens when you pull up a LinkedIn search and you get a list of 200 people that are your ICP, you select active because, yeah, they're posting great, but you have no idea what their intent is. So we're going to add a targeting layer to your system. This is vital. I just do not waste my time with my connection notes unless I'm doing high intent prospects. Then we have an engagement layer. We need content and we need nurturing automation. Now, content, I hate doing content. I always have. I literally made my first $1 million to $3 million off LinkedIn without ever posting. It was all on the outreach, all in the messaging. But now all these marketers have come on board on LinkedIn. You probably see it, and they post all this rubbish and all these amazing stories. Like, I can't believe that a solopreneur working from home has so many stories. Like, man, I go to the shop, the supermarket, back to my house. It's my day. Like, I'm not, coming across someone that I have to save, or it's just rubbish. However, what we're going to do is leverage other people's content. We're going to leverage our nurture, and we do have to put content out there. We do got to participate, and I'll show you how you can do that now and the kind of format that you're thinking. For me, content is not the only arrow in my quiver. In my bow. I am not trying to get leads coming to me via content because that's unpredictable. Content supports when someone looks at my profile and then reads a post and like, okay, what he's saying here in Messenger and what he's writing about, that's really cool. He knows his stuff. So that's the engagement layer. Then I'm going to talk about the implementation stage for you guys. I have a 3-stage rollout, and I'll show you how I do that. And I have a daily workflow. I'm going to share with you my daily workflow. Everything I mentor my clients and what I'm presenting here is stuff that I use, okay? It's as simple as that. And I make everything easy for me because I'm inherently lazy and I want to make sure that I have the best strategies with the best tools. And the last thing is messaging framework. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you some of the messaging templates that I use, okay? So this is not like, I'm not holding back here. I'm not going to give you everything, but I'm going to give you the openers, and that's going to get you that 63%, 65% day in, day out with the right elements. So the foundation layer, what is the foundation layer? There's 3 elements that we use before we've got to go and, go out and get people on LinkedIn. We have to transform our profile into a sales landing page. I'm going to talk more about this. There's also previous webinars. I think it's called the LinkedIn Dance, DANCE. It's a webinar I did for Adam and for Dux-Soup. You can go and watch that. I go, I think, deeper into the profile. But that's one of the key elements. We've got to make sure our profile, and I don't want to use the word optimize, that sucks. It's transformed into more of a sales landing page. The other thing, I want people to make an offer document. It's a 2-3 page PDF that pre-sells your solution. So when people say, send me stuff, you want to have stuff that you can send every time, right? You don't want to be like, oh, and then like have to make something and blah, blah, blah. Pre-plan it. So we have an offer document strategy that I get all my clients to do. And then we have a lead magnet arsenal. So I get them to make multiple lead magnets that are addressing small solutions, right? They're components of their big problem. They're not giving away the house. They're taking their big problem and they're giving one sliver. One of the big ones that I use a lot when I'm using a lead magnet is the pink suit method opener. And I get people to connect with me and say, hey, I've cracked the code on how to get people to respond, just like you are now, and having these lead magnets. Now, you probably think, oh, this is a lot to do. You've got AI now. If you're not using AI to bang these out, then you're wasting time. You can get these made. For my clients, I have a LinkedIn AI bot, a workspace. All my clients, they just pull up the agent, they answer the questions, boom, it makes an offer document for them, boom, it makes a lead magnet for you. But you've got to get into the habit of making these in your foundation layer. So when we talk about strategic profile transformation, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about transforming the profile into more of a sales landing page. You want to break your offer into digestible components, right? What I mean by that, like if I just have on my profile, even me, I've got to redo my profile actually, but if mine is like lead generation for small businesses, well, one of my experience sections should be talking about like message openers, right? That's one of my modules that I coach. And then experience section 2 is profile reboot. So you've got to ask yourself, if you're a solopreneur, a small business owner, and you have a resume as a profile, what's a resume used for? It's used for getting a job. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to get clients, right? So you want to make sure that your profile actually more appears like a landing page, like a website. And those experience sections, they talk to your ideal clients. They use what is the section about? Who would use it? What you can expect when you use it? What our clients say? There's all these little components to it. Again, you'll be able to find more in previous ones, but this is important. If you have a resume and you're a business owner and you're going out to clients, you've got the wrong tool. Now, the great thing, you can integrate Dux-Soup in this, because what you can do, once you get your profile sorted, every day you can just have Dux-Soup sending out visit requests or visiting your ICP, like 100 ICPs a day, 200 ICPs a day, depending on how much activity you've done during the day. You will get people looking back, all right? You can tag people that are looking back. You will get people viewing. Then you will get people requesting to connect with you. If you do it right, you're going to get ICPs also looking back at you thinking, oh, this guy's profile, that talks about the problems I have. Let's me connect with that guy. As soon as they connect, we can start our messaging. And it's done automatically. So just have it running every day. Why not just have it, doing that? We did some numbers before, and it came to like, it was worth multi-five figures, right? People coming to us, because if you're doing 100 people a day, 200 people a day, you'll get about 1 to 3% looking back and connecting with you. So it's pretty awesome to just run that on autopilot. So the next thing is our offer document strategy. And what I like to do is I like to put my offer into a framework that pre-sells my solution. It's got the built-in objection handling. It talks about the questions that a person may have about my offer. It talks about that. It also includes some kind of call to action, which has urgency triggers. It's saying like, hey, I've got 7 people that join me this month. I've got 5 more openings. You got to have real scarcity. Of course, don't fake it. But having a document, and I'll show you how we'll use this. Now, if you don't want to do an offer document, fine. If you've got a website you like to use or a landing page, okay, you can use that. For those that don't, I would recommend doing an offer document. You can find out a lot about offer documents, by Googling. Of course, for my clients, I have a AI bot that makes it for them or makes it with them, and it just saves time. Now, for Dux-Soup automation, a really, really easy thing is that we can send connection requests, and this is the lowest form of connection request. This is when we don't target someone with intent, and I'll explain intent later, but like, you should never just, send a connection request to someone saying, hi, I love, connecting with other business owners. Let's connect for mutual benefit. Like, oh, that is horrible. Just like, that makes me want to just, at least use a lead magnet. Imagine if you send a connection note to an accountant, and you say, hey, love to connect with accountants. I've just cracked the code for one of my accountants on how to get 12 fractional clients within three working weeks. Do you want to see the PDF once we connected? Or I'll send the PDF once we're connected. You will get people reaching out and accepting at a higher rate than ever before, even with just that. Right? And then you can put them through your sequence of emailing, whatever you use to message someone. And then when they ask, hey, is that something you want to fix? Like, I've got some details. Yeah, send it to me. Boom, you share your offer document. Right? So if you don't have these tools, it's pretty hard to pre-warn people and get people interested. Okay? So don't start reaching out to people unless you've got some of these collaterals. Really important to have it. So that's the part. When I talk about lead magnet arsenal, highly recommend making multiple lead magnets. Even to start off with just one is great. And because you're going to use these in particular for high intent people, that means people that are attending events, people that are raising their hand and say, hey, I want that training, or people who are raising their hand on other people's posts and saying, I want that training. And there's a specific way we can do that. But lead magnets now, the last 3 months has been very, very popular. The last 12 months has been popular, but the last 3 months, there's a bit of a change at the moment in the wind that I can see that people are creating lead magnets for the sake of lead magnets, and they're kind of crappy. So you want to make sure if you're doing great lead magnets, that they're high quality lead magnets. Give your best stuff. It doesn't matter. Most people won't even read it. We're using it to open a conversation, and then we can direct them like, hey, by the way, I got a heap of feedback about page 19. Did you have you used that yet? So rather than just like, oh, did you read my lead magnet? Okay. So this is where they work. They work in our featured section. We can have LinkedIn lead magnets in our featured section. You can refer it in a banner where you say like, click connect and I'll, send me a message to get the whatever lead magnet. You can have it in your headline. You can use it in direct messaging sequences. You can use it for event targeting campaigns. There's a lot you can do with it. Now, the great thing with Dux-Soup, again, you can auto message your LinkedIn magnet for delivery. Okay, so when you're using the high intent strategies, you're going to be able to target your ICPs. You're going to be able to put the lead magnet link in the workflow in the campaign, and this can be all automated. So every week you can be sending out 100, even up to 200 if you've got a very nice profile. It's a sales navigator profile, high SSI score. I was able to get out 498 connection requests in 16 days. So the limit's meant to be 100. That's on one account, right? So we want to make sure we have our lead magnet stuff organized. Okay, the targeting layer. This is really important. Pay attention to this. This is vital. This will change your LinkedIn game forever. Event-based targeting. We want to target attendees of relevant industry events. Now, LinkedIn about 4 or 5 years ago introduced events. I thought they were going to die. They haven't. They've got stronger. And there are thousands of events being held by people inside LinkedIn every single week, thousands. And some of them are going to be the exact match for you. So what I like to do is I like to find the right events. And I go in every week and I test a number of keywords that these events are made of. So it might be like LinkedIn marketing, LinkedIn messaging, LinkedIn sales. I have a whole host of keywords that I know that comes up in searches, and I check once a week. I get all the events that I want to hunt from, and I get that. Now the beauty of this is once you register for an event, you can see the attendees of an event. Aha. And why are they attending an event? Because they want to solve a problem, right? Is it starting to make sense? Like we're finding an event, it's got 600 people, and they're all people that are saying, I want to learn about LinkedIn marketing. Now, why wouldn't I go in there and steal every single one of those people? It makes no sense that I don't. And it makes no sense that you shouldn't be doing it for your service as well. We can also follow up. We have our follow-up sequences, and Dux-Soup is going to allow you to automate this so you can have this running every single day in the background for you, or when you're sleeping or whatever. And what's happening is people are popping up in your messenger because you're going to be getting connection notes or connection rates at that 60. I just don't see my clients going below 60% unless they stuff up the message, and I'll correct it anyway. But it's just normal to see that 65% kind of acceptance rates. And then again, we get the highest conversions. So it's really important that you start moving away from just doing searches on LinkedIn and start to think of targeting layers. So the event-based strategy, this is how I do it. There's 2 types of events that I target. One is an offer match. So this means events that are solving the same problems that I have, or they're very similar, right? So it's like LinkedIn marketing, LinkedIn lead generation, LinkedIn sales, blah, blah, blah. And there's tons of them. That's the first type. They're the perfect ones. They're the ones that just convert like crazy. ICP attending, this means some of you have really tough services. Like one of my clients does financing for construction equipment. I mean, that's nuts, right? But instead of finding events that are talking about getting money for construction, he's finding other events where his ICP is attending and they're trying to solve other problems. And he knows these are the problems that occur for my construction company owners. They have this problem, this problem, this problem. And we find events that they're attending, because someone who's finding an event, they're a lurker. most of them, the same rule, 98% of those people attending an event have never posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. And we would normally ignore that. However, they've actually gone to LinkedIn, they've found an event, they registered for an event, that person has intent, right? So we target those two. And again, AI will help you, find these events. If you haven't got into AI engineering, prompt engineering, start to study that. Again, for my clients, I have an AI bot for them, an agent. They just plug into the system, boom, it's done for them. I just want people to execute as quick as possible. So why do those events work? Well, it's attendees are actively seeking solutions, right? They're seeking a solution right now, right? Not a month from now. They want to learn about it now, and that's why they're there. Now, you can integrate your Dux-Soup. Again, you can visit event registrants. You can download that data and then upload it into a list. And then you can put it into your Dux-Soup campaigns and start messaging people. So again, this can be all done on autopilot with Dux-Soup, right? So it just saves you so much time. So event-based targeting strategy, so important. The other one is, how do we find the right events? Well, what my process is, as I said, I do weekly searches. So once a week, I go in and I have a list of keywords. And generally, people search for events like they search on Google. So you can, if any of you are that sophisticated with your marketing, you can go to Google and you can find trends. You can find what people are searching. You can go to Google AdWords, set up an account, find the keywords by volume. But pretty much it's those kind of keywords. You then register at the event. That's going to allow you to access the attendee list. So as soon as you register, you can access. Then you can go in there, you can filter by geography, you can filter by seniority. There's a few things. So when it's about your event, that's super easy. And again, use AI to do this, right? Get good with using AI. It just saves so much time. Now, event examples, like if I'm doing sales training, well, I might target for sales consulting. If I have a website building thing, I'm targeting email marketing, right? Because someone who has is doing email marketing, well, they've probably got a website, right? They need a website. Maybe they haven't realized that they have a problem with that yet, but once they see from you about a lead magnet that talks how awesome changing this one thing in a website will change your life, then they're going to pay attention. Lead generation, you might use examples like target words like conversion optimization, right? And again, I like to start off with about 50 keywords, and I narrow it down to about 10, 15 that I check once a week, or you can have a resource check it for you to see what events. I tend to target events that are 50 to 500 people. If you have a service that is really, really tight and not that much, if there's 5 people attending, fine. Get them. If they're 5 people that want your service, I want them, right? And if they're showing intent to solve it, I'm going to be all over them like white on rice, right? So events are going to be looking like that, nice and easy. And the great thing about it, they are a renewable resource, right? An event happens, then they go away. You also notice that when you see registrants, sometimes you can directly message registries inside the event itself. So you don't even have to use a connection note. You can actually just message them directly. So that's pretty cool. And some of them will have hundreds of people like that. LinkedIn about a year ago, changed everyone you could message. It was just so good. You didn't even have to connect. You could message everyone who attended an event that you did. It was awesome. So event outreach, the connection request. All right, so you'll see on the right-hand side, that is what I use. Okay, literally in my connection, it's going to look like this, where I've crossed out some of the names, obviously, but this is one that I use. This converts at around 64 to 65% get connected with, and conversations 19 to 32%. So I have hi, first name, Saul, we're both registered for LinkedIn Masterclass event. I actually have the person's name, like it was like, I'm going to say Tom's LinkedIn Masterclass. I've mastered connecting with up to 93% of event attendees. I've added like 60 or 93 because people say, I don't believe 93, then I've got to show them proof and blah, blah, blah. Awesome, thanks a lot. Then I give a voice message, and then I hand over the system to them, and it works really well. So this is what I recommend on your outreach. hey, first name, we both signed up for whatever. I've actually cracked getting and put a specific outcome related to the event topic. And it's getting up to whatever kind of result, right? So you can have an outcome or a result. I'll send the PDF once we're connected. Now, you've got to keep it under 300 characters. So just keep that in mind. Now, I hear a lot of gurus say, oh, don't use connection notes. And then they're proud they got 35%, 40%. I'm doubling their connection rates, right? And extra. Most of them are getting 20, 25. We're getting 60, 65, 70 day in, day out. When you double the size of the top of your funnel, you double the bottom of your funnel in most cases, right? So use connection notes, make them, now also people say, oh, you got to make them short and snappy. I've tested. This is like 280 characters. It converts. The data shows it converts, okay? So don't listen to the people that, I say bring the data, not the drama, okay? And I've got the data, and this is what it says. Okay. Also, once the event follow-up sequence is, once I've sent the connection request with the event reference, I send them the lead magnet. And this happens all at the same time, right? I send the connection note, they accept me, they get normally, and I vary this, and if you're one of my clients, I'll give you even the hyper coolest ones that we use, but you can send a lead magnet with a personal note. You can follow up with additional value. This is a really cool way to prompt people to speak to you more. You can say, oh, and by the way, I've got another training on ABC. Most people want that. Do you want that? Because I want them to reply. I want to get into a conversation with me. So that's what I usually, and I test that as well all the time. And then I go into assumptive closing pitch, and I won't go into that because that's a lot. But there you want to be saying like, hey, you joined Tom's event. Was that because you had this problem or that problem? Like, I want to know. And then like, oh, okay, well, that can be fixed, man. That's what we do day in, day out. You want to see how you can do that? Nice and easy. I call it, being breezy, right? Nice and easy, be breezy. You don't want to be all, stuffy and formal. You want to be as breezy as possible. And then I do a re-engagement with a different angle. So if someone's been sitting there and they've just ignored me, I'll go back in, put them in a campaign, and I'll try a different angle. If there's someone I really, really want to get, I might, use a different kind of lead magnet to get them over there, to get a response from them. So really important to have that event follow-up sequence. And again, you can do it with Dux-Soup. It's awesome. The other strategy I love to use, and this is so possible because of all the marketing gurus that have jumped on LinkedIn, none of them have sold anything on LinkedIn except marketing services. It really bothers me because I started my businesses, multiple businesses, wedding dress business, which we actually just sold to a public company in March. It got to 8 figures. I built all our vendors and our partners and our overseas. We're all on LinkedIn. I used it to build actual businesses, not just LinkedIn. But the beauty of this is your competitors and these marketers, they're putting a lot of posts out there now, right? And there's really 2 posts that we can target. One of them is the lead magnet post. So you'll see when someone says, hey, I just booked 10 people for accountants, and I've got a PDF or a video to watch, comment accountant, these horrible posts. You can go in and steal every one of those people. You can bring up the likes on Dux-Soup. You actually can hit the like, and it will visit everyone who liked that comment. You can also go in there and manually send it. You can visit the profiles and then put it into an automation. There's multiple ways of doing it, but you should be stealing your competitors, and it's the same kind of messaging as well. The other one is look for high engagement posts. So maybe you are in an industry where they do events, or there's like a really established association that everyone follows, and they're like, hey, this week we're going to do our award show. Who thinks it's going to win? And then you have all these people, I think it's going to be ABC company, and yeah, those people are in the industry. Go get them as well, right? So look for high engagement posts in your industry and steal those ICPs, intercede, reach out to them with the same kind of framework saying, hey, let's connect, and I'm going to give this really, really cool solution to something. Again, people engaging with competitor content. They have active problem awareness. They know what problem they have, and they want to solve it. So let's get in there. We don't have to make posts even. You don't even have to do a post. You can just spend your time Stealing other, and maybe I shouldn't use the word stealing because it sounds bad, intercepting other competitors' leads. They do all the hard work. They make the post. They make the lead magnet. Well, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to say, thank you very much. And I'm going to take them. So for lead magnets, this is when I compete, when I do competitor sourcing, meaning when I find someone, one of my competitors making a post, I'll kind of send this. So it'll be the same kind of thing. Hey, John, saw your comment on Tom's post about what the topic. We just tested a strategy that solves, and I'll give a related problem. Surprised even us with the results. I'll send the breakdown once we're connected. I'm making assumptions here, right? Like connect with me and you'll get this. And again, you can put a list of people together from a comment and you can use Dux-Soup to automate this, right? And if you don't want to do that, you can pay a virtual assistant out of Uruguay to do it for, $6-10 an hour. So you don't have to do it, right? I like Uruguay and Paraguay, actually, and Mexico for VAs. Their English level is excellent. Their work ethic is excellent. And they're on the US time zone. And I'm not keeping anyone like in the Philippines up at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just horrible. Anyway, that's only my preference. Now, for a general post engagement, when you come across one of those general posts where they're not giving away a lead magnet, same thing. If you've done a post, you can say, hey, thanks for liking my post about whatever. If you like that, you'll love my guide on solving a bigger problem. If you like a copy, connect and I'll send it over. So if you are putting content out there and you are getting likes or comments just on a post, and then your ICP, reach out to them as well and give them something though. Give them something of value. That's why it's good to have multiple lead magnets already made up. Content engagement automation. Again, now for your own post engagers. So if you're not connected with them, I send the connection note. Yeah, thanks for liking my post. Appreciate it. If you like that, you'll love my whatever the resource about solving the problem. Connect and I'll send it over. So I'm always giving them like a reason to connect with me. Okay. So again, if you're putting content out and people are commenting, send them a lead magnet. For your own post engagers already connected. So if someone is connected with you and you haven't had a conversation with them, because so many of you don't have conversations with people that you connect in, go into Messenger. Thanks for engaging with my post about topic. If you like that discussion, you would love whatever resource. I can drop it here in Messenger. Would you like a copy? All right, that's for people that are already connected. So guys, you're getting the idea. Stop wasting people that engage with your content. Right? If you're not putting content or your content sucks, whatever, or people don't engage, it's fine. Steal other people's. But I just want to give you what you can do with yours. Okay. Now the engagement layer, and I told you this was a thick webinar. I'm sorry. I hope you're still awake. In the download you can get from my training site, I have some of this, that you can download and play with. So anyway, engagement layer. This is the thing. AI powered content. You should be using weekly content frameworks with specific themes for each day. There is no reason why in today's world that you're not doing 7 posts a week, at least 7 posts a week. AI is there, and when you do it right, no one knows it's AI. When you do it wrong, it stands out like, no man's business and everyone will know. But you should be using your content, and because we now have AI, we can now produce at a higher level. That's including carousels, lead magnet posts, video scripts, everything. AI makes it all, yeah? As I mentioned before, lead magnet post formula. You've got to be using your high converting post structure to drive the lead magnet requests, right? You put the post out there and you say, hey, you use it. You use the same thing, when you start, if you're, some of you are awesome writers and do awesome content and get heaps of engagement, but you never sell anything. Start using a lead magnet in your post. Then we have the 110-4 nurture system. Everyone that you connect with that is an ICP and you have a discussion with and they say no, don't just put them on the shelf and leave them there. Ask them, hey, do you mind if I keep you updated here in LinkedIn regularly? And I'm going to show you what the 110-4 is. And in the previous webinar, I went really deep on that, but I'll show you what it is. It is super. It will get you 2 to 3% conversations top of mind. People will drop in, 3 months after they read it and like, are you still offering lead magnets? I'm like, yes, I am. Let's become a client. And voice messaging strategy, leveraging voice messaging. If you're not leveraging, every time I have a campaign, there is at least one voice message. There's other tech out there where you can automate it even and personalize it. but using voice messaging, it beats video messaging. I hate those videos. There's this company and I don't want to see someone's big fat face in my, messenger, like, blah, blah, I'm the fat guy, so I can say that. I don't want to see their face like, all like, oh, hi, Tyron, really good to meet. Like, no, like, we don't even know each other. Back off. But voice messages work a treat. So you've got to have a voice message strategy. You've got to have a lead magnet strategy, a content strategy, and a nurture system. Okay. Now, the content strategy. This is my weekly formula. Pretty much on Mondays, I kind of follow an education or authority or a content philosophy post, meaning I'm talking about something I believe in. Like, I believe people should use connection notes, right? So I'm going to make a story about use connection notes, and here's some data to prove it. So every Monday there's going to be something like that. Now I vary this, but this is a guide. If you're starting from scratch, I would something like this. Tuesdays, give a lead magnet, because depends on where they are in the world, where you are. Tuesday's a good day for that. Wednesday, have a tutorial, kind of how to. As you notice, this is kind of the middle of funnel, right? And again, you can use AI to make these things for you. My clients have all of these different agents to make these. So Thursdays, I like to have a visual post. I like to use a carousel. I can go and Google something or use an original piece of content I've made before, put it into my AI agent, have it make 20 slides, put it into Gamma, which I'm using now, and I've got a carousel in under 10 minutes. All right, it would take me a week to make a carousel before. Now I can make them like that. On the weekend, I like to share those personal stories, and they're still the ones that get the most likes and comments, and I hate it, but that's LinkedIn. You share a story about, oh, I suffered from this problem, and I solved it, and I'm such a hero, and my wife loves me now, and everyone's like, oh, yeah. It's not making you money, it's getting you engagement and visibility. It's not selling, but it serves a purpose. It shows people that you're not just all about business, that you are a well-rounded human. So I like to do that on Saturdays, Sundays. I think the last one I shared was about meeting a sumo wrestler. He became a friend here in Japan. Stories like that. So 7 days of content. Now I see these AI people like, you can have it made in 5 minutes. The stuff they make in 5 minutes is crap. Yeah, it's still, I will sit down and will take a good 60 to 90 minutes to craft out 7 messages, but they're what I want and they're good. And normally that would take me 7 to 8 hours, right? And I'm doing it in an hour now. So integrate AI into your AI-powered content strategy. Lead magnet, post formula. When you do a lead magnet, you've got to have an attention-grabbing opener. You've got to get people like, oh, that's really cool, I want that. You've got to agitate the pain point, like, hey, and if you don't do this, your life's going to fall apart. Then you want to tease, and hey, you can do this by doing this, and then give a call to action. Like, hey, if you want to know all the details, download this lead magnet. So in the lead magnet as well, we want to use urgency, we want to use value. So lead magnet post formula, this kind of works quite well when you're giving away a lead magnet. Now the 110-4 notes sequence. Don't put prospects on the shelf after your initial discussions. Get them into your nurture list on LinkedIn. Have a save list, call it nurture. Everyone you speak to, that's really, really cool. Maybe they said no or not yet. Ask them for permission. Hey, do you mind if I keep you updated here inside LinkedIn Messenger? Most will say yes. Then I send one message every 10 days with 4 bits of bite-sized actionable content. I give a tip, a tool, a resource, and a bit of gossip. People respond to this, and they know they're going to get it every 10 days, and they become buddy-buddy, and they love it, and it gets me clients and get my clients clients. Again, there's one of my other webinars, I think in the dance webinar, I talk about this in detail. So go and have a look at that. It's in the Dux-Soup webinar series. Now, again, you can use Dux-Soup for this. This is awesome. You can fully automate this with Dux-Soup, right? You can keep your prospects in the list, pull the list up, boom. You can bang out 200-300 messages to your first-degree people. And I just want to ask you this. When you open your LinkedIn today and you saw a red dot above your messenger, what did you do? You opened it. I've been on LinkedIn since April 2004. 2004 or 2001, 2004. And I open LinkedIn Messenger every time I see that red dot. It is near 100% open rates. So if you're not nurturing inside LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a disservice, okay? Voice messaging strategy, why voice? Voice rates, just converts. It builds that immediate rapport. People know that you're not a bot. They actually hear you, which is really cool. So this is a really cool advanced, I call it sell via messenger framework. So when I'm opening with a lead magnet, this is what I'm doing. I'll be like, hey, thanks for requesting the lead magnet. I can see you're getting more active on LinkedIn. Are you looking to whatever, or is it more about whatever? So I'm just giving you a few different frameworks that you can also try out in your messenger. Hey, I see whatever they're responding to me. They might say like, oh yeah, I'm having a problem with this. Well, I see, I recently put together a guide outlining the solution. Would you like me to send it over? Yeah. Again, this is about opening conversations up. All right. So again, you can use the first part, the initial outreach can be fully integrated with Dux-Soup. Okay. So again, if you're going to do mass outreach to first degrees, and they've actually asked for that lead magnet, this is what you can follow up with as well. Okay. So just some tips there. Now the implementation, quick start, 3-stage implementation framework. I know we're rushed for time, and Joe said you'll be rushed for time, but if you want to stay, please stay. This is what I do with my clients. In 1 week, you should be able to, if you're into it and you're full-time on this, you can reboot your profile, you can make an offer document, you can make a sales mechanism, and that might be a conversational framework. I have a way that I sell. You can either do it with the sales deck or learn another method, but that's one. You can skip it if you already sell. Have a lead magnet ready and start to be reaching out to 140 high intent people using Dux-Soup. So if you press yourself hard, this is what you can do. You can get it all made using AI. My clients, they have bots to make it all, and they get it all ready. So by the end of week 1, they can already be reaching out to high intent people. Yeah. Oops, ran the wrong way. Sorry. Okay, stage 2. What I like to do is then start introducing 7 pieces of content weekly. I like to do micro-influencer engagement, building those engagement lists, getting buddy-buddy with people that have existing networks that I want to leverage. And stage 3 is where I scale advanced content. I'll add video, I'll add carousel formats. I'll introduce the 110.4. I'll do multiple lead magnets, and I'll use advanced sales mechanisms. I'll use offer letters or sales deck. Now, you can do stage 1 in week 1. You can get started in week 2 with stage 2. And then, by about week 3, most of my clients is 8 weeks that we work with them. We get through all of this so they're up and running, but every time it's running. So daily week flow. You're probably thinking, what can I do for the 10 days? This is what I recommend. Now, this should be in your download, so I won't go deep into this, but you can see this is what you should be doing every single day, and just follow it. Now, you don't have to work on weekends. I normally will be messaging people on the weekend because I just have my LinkedIn on all the time with me, and I'll look at it and like message. But you'll notice we're doing content, we're doing outbound bursts, we're sending at least 100 to 140 new connection requests a week. We're in there engaging with people, and we're using Sell via Messenger, and we're pitching. Okay, so this is in that download. Now, this is a 10-day one, so this is week 2, day 6. This is when I'm going to be using. I'll get to the point where some of these messages are converting, and I'll start to use the offer document. I'll start again on day 7th. I'm doing another batch of 7 pieces of content. Then I'm doing my outreach again. Then I'm doing the offer blitz. I'm going in, and everyone who messaged me, and if they're at the right level, I'm then messaging. Then on the 10th day, everyone who said to me before, yeah, you can keep me updated, boom, they're getting my nurture blast. So that's a nice kind of 10-day sequence. And when you follow it, it means you can get in, get out, and not waste time on LinkedIn just, liking comments about, my grandma graduated uni at 75. Like, okay, good job, but that doesn't help me, right? We want to get in there, do our content, do our outreach, do our lead magnets. We want to speak to people every day. The whole goal of this funnel is to pitch daily, multiple people daily about your service. And when you're doing it to high intent people that want your stuff, it's a whole different ballgame. These are my daily non-negotiables Monday to Friday. SVM follow-ups, Sell via Messenger. I'm always doing follow-ups. No matter what happens, that is the most important thing for me. And I'm always putting an offer in front of a prospect. And I aim for multiple people a day, right? It's not just one offer a day. I'm like, oh, I hope it converts. No, I want to do 5. I want to do 10. I want to be offering people every day. And, I don't let anything else get in my way. Following up with people, talking to people, getting into Messenger with people is my goal. The great thing, when you integrate tech into it, Dux-Soup is really good. It's really great at auto visiting and doing profile scanning at scale. It gives that kind of one click personalized connection request, so you can easily send out those connection requests. It's got that multi-strip campaigns, which are awesome for the lead magnet stuff. You can do the in-mail stuff. It's got the auto endorse features. Don't overuse that, but it can give you one little engagement touch point with them. And you can use the smart tagging and segmenting, which is just awesome. Now, what requires strategy? That's the tool. You've got to know exactly who to target. So if your strategy doesn't have that, you're in trouble. You've got to know how to craft messages that convert. You've got to have content that positions you authority. You've got to build a system that scales without restrictions, that will keep on working even when you're asleep. Learning the strategy and the tactics, that's when you can layer them over the tool. There's Dux-Soups out there, but there's many other tools as well. But if your strategy sucks, everything sucks, right? So make sure you learn good strategies, learn tactics, and the stuff that I showed you is what you need. Don't be fooled by other people. You need this stuff to make it work and allow you to get multiple channels of people coming to you, multiple ways people can convert and get into conversations, not just one way. I don't want to be a one-trick pony like content or messaging. I want my messaging to work, my nurture to work, my lead magnets to work, my hunting to work. I want it all to work. Yeah. Now, AI will absolutely do wonders for your content creation. Again, all of these I have bots for my clients, right? We have a big workspace. We have over 60 AI bots that I made that is specific to LinkedIn because I needed them, because I was sick of doing them manually. So video scripts, carousels, conversion posts, lead magnets, right? Making a lead magnet, a 30, 40-page lead magnet that has everything, including the kitchen sink. It's like a white paper, you can have it made. Message response, I've got, if you get a message, you're not sure how to respond, using AI can help you. Like one of my clients, Gregory, he booked an entire meeting with someone who was looking to get a loan for construction equipment by simply putting their response in my response generator and then copying and pasting it back into LinkedIn. 100% was the responder, and he's like, it booked it for me. Offer documents, got to have your offer documents. They can be made with AI. Sales presentations, again, get AI to make these things for you. And profile optimization, you can build many parts of the profile, the content and stuff using AI to help you. So this is where the AI tools will accelerate everything. So this is your next step. The next 24 hours, you should go and audit your current Dux-Soup setup against what you've learned today. I want you to identify your highest intent prospects. Look at events, look for competitors, right? Look where your people are hanging out. Block out 90 minutes daily for systematic implementation. Those 90 minutes should be like a client meeting. They're the most important things that you can do. Block it in your day and choose your first lead magnet topic, right? Now, the reality, Dux-Soup is a powerful tool when used strategically. The difference between those that see mediocre results and those that build those kind of six-figure pipelines, it's having a complete system layered on top of the automation, okay? Now, I never plug my own stuff on these things. Joe allowed me to do this, but if you want to learn how to implement this entire AI-powered system, okay, all the templates, all the exact frameworks, everything, feel free to reach out to me. You can get me when you download the supplementary guide, yeah, and I will show you how we could work together. Now, even if you don't even do that, but you just implement some of these pieces that we covered today, you will dramatically improve your results, okay? So I know that was a lot, and I hope you're still awake, but thank you for your time.
We are absolutely still awake, Tyron. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you so much, Tyron. I think you used a phrase, I think, right at the start that you were going to, this is like a dense content presentation. I know that I already know a couple of my contacts. I'm going to be essentially forcing them to sit down and watch this. So I think there were so many great tips and tricks in there. I think almost, I would update your slide, Ty, that says, first 24 hours. I'd say the first hour is go rewatch the webinar. Because the number of tips in there are absolutely amazing. I think I loved how you talked about, identifying high engagement posts. Look for people who are solving what I call adjacent problems. You know, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be ones in your market. Are they similar ones to, you know, that your ideal customers are going to be solving? I wrote down another stat which was amazing: 498 connections in 16 days.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And presumably that was without triggering any warnings or bans.
No, I did. Every day it gave me a warning saying I reached my limit, but we'll reset at 00 UTC. So I'm just like, okay, just keep on going. And I think when, you know, LinkedIn works on an algorithm, right? So if it sees you're sending out connection notes and they're getting accepted at 64, 65%, right? And the average person is getting 10 to 20, they give you some leeway, and especially if you have a Sales Navigator account, your SSI score is high. You know, anecdotally, it seems that the more the better your profile and your results, the more leeway they give you. And you know, I just keep on testing it, and it was that. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. I thought it was 100 to 140. I tell my clients keep it to 100, 140, but now it's like, and it didn't ping me for like you're using automation. That wasn't the issue. It just says you've reached your limit. Yeah, and everyone always says, "Oh, automation's so dangerous." I have been on LinkedIn since April 2004. I have my account still, and I've used automation for 8 years. It is not the tool; it is the way you use it. I just want to get that out there.
Absolutely, 100%. Couldn't agree more. You know, I always use the analogy that you can go out and buy a Ferrari and drive down the motorway at 70 miles, certainly in the UK, 70 miles an hour, and you're within the speed limit. You can put your foot down and drive at 110, and you'll get caught by a speed camera. Is it the fault of the car, or is it the fault of the driver? And it's always the fault of the driver. And but really interesting to hear, you know, the volumes that you're doing without triggering any issues. I know you talked about the dance presentation that is on the Dux-Soup YouTube channel. If you want to understand a bit more about Tyron's best practice there. I loved so many things you talked about, the use of lead magnets, you know, the ability to pitch daily to high intent prospects. Another tip I loved was you talked about if people haven't responded to a campaign, you said, I'll re-engage them with a different angle. You know, I love that idea is, you know, because a lot of people go, well, I've done my campaign. It worked, it didn't work, and I've stopped. Now I'm doing something else. No, it's just that constant recycling, re-nurturing, because you know they're in your, you know, they're squarely within your sights for the ICP. You know, stealing competitors' posts. I use that example all the time when I talk to people about how to identify people who are going to be in your target markets. It's, you know, it's a strategy. If you're not doing it, I think that's the issue. You know, everyone should be using that. Should be, you know, LinkedIn Outreach 101.
It should all be about high intent. Now, there's like on a level of intent. You know, we want people that are attending. The best one are people attending events about a solution that we also, you know, about a problem that we have the solution for. The second one, you know, events about solutions, but our ICP is attending, and then it's our competitors. And like to go beyond those three is just like you lose intent after that. And intent drops off dramatically. And this has all just come about in the last year, guys. This is not like you couldn't do this at the start of 2024. There just wasn't enough volume. There wasn't enough people doing this. You've got to, you know, I stay with the flow on LinkedIn. I see what's working, and you know, I implement as fast as I can, so my clients don't have to think about it. It's like, just do this. I just tested it. It works. So this stuff it's what's working now. Maybe it changes in 6 months. Be okay for me. I'll change as well. But this is working now. As I said, there are some changes to lead magnets and how people see them now. But if you can produce really high quality stuff, you'll be fine.
Joe, have we got questions for Tyron?
Yes, we do. We have lots and lots of time. So Stefan has asked, will this be valid for my own profile, or is it also suitable for our corporate pages on LinkedIn?
Yeah, like corporate pages, look, you know, you're competing with Nike and Amazon, and like, don't, like, most corporate pages just absolutely suck. People want to buy from people, see other people talking about stuff. Unless you're producing awesome B2B stuff, and it's just fantastic, I would focus on your own company page. If you have the resource to do it, yes, you could do something similar, but it's just content that you're posting out there. You know, and again, like, you can achieve more with your personal profile. People want to buy from people. I saw one question about recruiting. Yes, I use many of these tactics, but I had to do them manually when I was a recruiter. I was executive recruiter for 16 years. I was a partner in 2 firms. Our firm got purchased and went public on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. This stuff works for recruiters like gangbusters. I've coached Pinnacle Association recruiters some of this stuff. So yes, it works amazingly for recruiters, because recruiters are really, really poor at marketing and outreach on LinkedIn. So I just want to answer that one I saw.
Yeah, that's cool. I can't remember who asked that question, but hopefully they're still on.
Right.
Thank you for that one. Erin asked, I run an agency that provides LinkedIn services to several clients. I'm concerned because I know LinkedIn discourages the use of automation, and I'm afraid that my profile or a client's profile could be restricted or blocked. What experience do you have with these issues?
Yep, so absolutely. If you use automation, you face getting banned from LinkedIn for life. Having said that, I've used LinkedIn automation for 8 years, and I'm still here and not banned, and I've sent thousands and thousands of messages, thousands of connection requests. It is the way you do it, and the stats and the results that you get will determine. So if you have bad strategy, bad tactics, any tool that you use is going to get you flagged. So yes, you use it at your own risk. But again, I am still here, and my profile is still alive after 8 years of automation.
I think also to add to that, certainly with Dux-Soup, we make sure that we have processes in place where when you start your, when you open up your account, it's already filtered so that you're going to be mimicking human behavior when you're using the tool. Now, there are options for you to change those settings, but we would always recommend you keep those settings, and that will keep your account safe. Erin, I'm also sending you a link to a document around LinkedIn limits and keeping your account safe, just to help you with that as well. So thank you.
The reality is, like, if you're a hardcore salesperson and you've used LinkedIn, like recruiters or consultants, like manually, I would send out 100 a day. I would send out, 50 to 200 messages if I had a role that I had to jump on and do it manually. So, humans do act and do high volume as well. Automation, if it's random, it says timing, works in 15-minute spouts or whatever, that can, help you out. But again, if you abuse it, you can get caught. I haven't, so it's because I don't abuse it.
Yeah, I think also it's when you look at your account, if your usage is fairly low, don't go from sending 50 a month to sending 50 a day, because that is likely to trigger something. So you go up in small incremental measures.
You've got to start participating. You've got to participate in the platform. And the beauty of it, if you just send 50 for that week and you're getting connected to 60% of them, LinkedIn's watching. They're seeing like, okay, because remember, some of your competition are at 8%. I've seen it. I've got clients that have come to me, they're at 8% conversion. It's like, man, you're leaving 92% of people on the table. If you're in a tight market with a small niche, you can't be doing that. You've got to make them all count.
Lovely, thank you. Dee has asked, I think this is very helpful, but developing content would need to be ready before starting, as it needs to be high quality and consistent. Would you agree with that?
You can start outreach without content. Content will help, of course. Content I use just as a support to help people convert. That they look at my profile and they think, okay, this guy's active and he's a human and he's doing stuff. I'm not like a Justin Welsh, like put up a content and get 50 comments and that. No, I'm more about, I can control. I know, I see 100 people. I know this strategy is going to get me connected with 65%. And I know that 35% of them are going to reply to me. And then I know I'm going to get, X amount of bookings from that. And I'm going to make this much money. I prefer predictability rather than just chasing virality. So no, you don't worry about getting ready to get ready. That will never get you anywhere. What you can do is have a good lead magnet, know what your offer is, start reaching out to people with the right messaging that are at events. And then you can start, putting content. Maybe you just do two a week. That's fine. Don't get stressed about content. The reality is only 2% of people have posted anything in the last 30 days on LinkedIn. That's it, 2%. So, 98% of people don't, right? But when you're out doing outreach and you're messaging them in ways that have never been messaged before, they've never been engaged like this before, and then they go back to your profile, they see a great profile, a structured profile, a client-facing profile, they do see some content. It's like, okay, that's an easy accept. Yeah, it's an easy accept.
Yeah, okay. Eden also asked, when creating, for example, a full cadence message for LinkedIn, where do you add the voice message? And Roloff also asked, when managing LinkedIn for a client, would you ever recommend using tools like Even Labs to clone their voice so you can send voice notes in their voice? So they're both linked questions.
So I won't reveal what I use because that's proprietary with some clients, but I like to send out my connection request, and then I send a voice message that is personalized, that is voice cloned, and it'll be like, hey, Joe, I'll send that PDF to you straight away, right? Just so it drops in there and they think, oh, this is a real human, okay? So yes, if you can integrate that and use that, I highly recommend bringing it. Voice cloning, if you do recording on voice cloning, it can be a bit off. I recommend when you do samples of voices that you do overreaction, like talk into your voice cloner really, really crazy. Like I would be doing it like this. This is exactly how I do it. I'd be like, hey, everyone, I'm so glad you're here for my LinkedIn seminar. We are going to kick it today. I've got so much awesome stuff to tell you. That's how I do my voice cloning. And then it comes up with some British guy in the end anyway. But yes, voice cloning is awesome if you know how to use it. My clients know how to use it.
That's fab. A couple of people, I'm just going to interject slightly. How do I get a copy of the session, and is it recorded? Yes, it's recorded. Basically, you'll get an email probably tomorrow with your on-demand link. If I'm honest, the on-demand link is the same as the link you joined with today. So you can just press that. Once it's done all its jiggery pokery in the background, it will go live. You'll be able to rewatch it all. And also, there's a few of you who haven't looked at the related, the resources section. So in the top right of your screen is a resources section, and the very first very first piece of content in there is Tyron's checklist. So if you click on there, I think it takes you to his page, so you can register and download. And I've checked it and tried it, and it's working beautifully. So go and give that a whirl, everybody.
Yeah, right. Box or other box or promotion box. So just check it there. It's working. So
yeah, it is. It's absolutely fun. Christina said this has been great. Thank you so much. Mike has asked, do you offer a done-for-you solution?
No, you couldn't afford me. No, I don't. I can show you how to do it, and then you can do it, and then you can teach other people to do it and have them do it for you. But done for you, I became an entrepreneur and a solopreneur because I didn't want to have a boss. There's my answer.
Case in point. Do you think it's a good idea to be doing events on LinkedIn and talk about solutions that you help people with? That's from Andrew.
Yeah, like you can do events yourself. If you love doing events, you're great at articulating and speaking and doing an event and you love doing it, then sure. But you have to also learn how to market your event and actually get people to it. And you have to have follow-up. There's a whole lot to it. And then after you do it, you're kind of like, like after this call tonight, I'm going to be like, and I won't look at my email until tomorrow or whatever. Same things happens with other people's events. This is why I can get, when I register for someone's event, there's a little button. You have to opt in to let people reach out to you. Most people don't opt in. So I get more value out of hunting someone else's event than doing my own event. So yes, you can do your own event, but why bother? Like, yes, you can use it for authority and branding and all that. That's great. But if you're not, most people on video look like they're hostages, right? It's like a hostage video. Oh, we are doing, it's horrible. So if you're not good at it, don't do it. Use other people's events, leverage their hard work. And I reach out to people even before the event has happened, and I'm already booking people or having discussions before the event's even happened. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I'm as I said, I look for shortcuts and a bit lazy like that. I just found I get more value from other people, and I can source from 4 or 5 events a week if I want. Right? I can pick the best top 50 of them and just source from that. And again, I'll connect with 65 to 75%. I'll start conversations, and the metrics just flow. Rather than doing one event, it's putting all my time, energy, and when people don't turn up, or when people don't buy your stuff, you feel horrible about it. I don't have the mental space for that. I just want to someone's doing an event, awesome. My clients are there. I'm gonna go intercede and get them. It's like, okay, and it's renewable.
Yep, lovely. Andreas has asked, do I need LinkedIn Navigator for implementing this strategy?
No, you can use basic LinkedIn, but if you're on LinkedIn and you're going to do sales on LinkedIn, get Sales Navigator, get Core, at least get Core. It's $79 a month or something. I mean, it's a cost of business, but it's such a low barrier. But having that allows you to, if you don't have Sales Navigator, I think you can only send 4 connection notes a week or something with a connection note, actually with a note. There's all these restrictions. And for me, I want to use connection notes. I want to be able to reach out to larger groups of people. So, hey, look where you can save $80 a month and get Sales Navigator. If you're serious about, making LinkedIn a primary channel for client acquisition, yeah, get it.
Yeah, awesome. Robert, I'm just replying to you. Robert said, thanks for sharing today. I've never posted content on LinkedIn in my 8 years of executive recruitment. Yeah, I like the idea of sending voice message in LinkedIn versus written text. Thank you for your suggestions. So that's a really nice message. Thanks, Robert. Good luck with it all. Robert, you've also asked about the 2-week extension. So I'm just going to remind those of you who did notice this bit, and then I'll come back to the remaining questions. So some of you may have signed up for the free trial in advance, which is amazing. The benefit of doing that means you not only get your free trial time from prior to the webinar, but we will extend it. So it goes 2 weeks from the date of today's webinar. So if that is you, then if you email info@dux-soup.com, that's info@dux-soup.com. There we go. And let them know, then they will be able to extend your 2-week free trial. So that will start then from today. So that's how you need to sort that out. Cesar, I think I pronounced that right. Should one use multiple emails to create multiple accounts on LinkedIn, or would one work?
Well, I think you should, again, in terms of service, you should only have one account. That's the law of LinkedIn. But if you have access to multiple accounts, maybe you have a brother who's not in business, and because what happens, accounts will sometimes be asked to verify. And if you can't verify it, they'll just close it down. And there's rental places out there, and so be very, very careful. Sometimes it can be stolen accounts that hackers have actually hacked into, and they say, oh, we've got a Sales Navigator account. And then when it comes to rebilling or verification, you can't verify it, and you just lost your money. So yes, but there are people, if you have trusted people, you can have multiple accounts. But again, it breaks terms of service. Whatever risk level you're at, that's what you should follow.
Can I add one thing to that? So there is a brilliant case study on the Dux-Soup website for a company called HG Insights. It's another one of our fantastic users that I've interviewed, and this is basically my poster child for doing LinkedIn automation. The guy at HG Insights is called Jay Inman. He is one person. He uses 9 profiles, so 8 colleagues have opened up their profiles. He's running everything through Dux-Soup, our team cloud version, and over the last 25 or 26 months it is now, the leads he has generated from his company have gone to close for north of $1.6 million. So that's one person running 9 profiles, doing all those outreach, all those campaigns. And the really cool thing is he uses a lot of the techniques that Dux-Soup and Tyron have coached. They go after competitors' posts. They go and scrape lots of high engagement, high intent posts, and they do it at scale. And that's one of the reasons they've seen absolutely off the scale ROI. So that story is available on the Dux-Soup website if you go to our case studies, I think resources and case studies section.
Awesome. Now, Andrew has also said he can only leave voice messages via his mobile phone. Is that the same for you, Ty?
I use some other technique to be able to automate that, and I don't need to use my mobile phone. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's doable either way. Which version of Dux-Soup is needed for what you're doing, or perhaps what we should say is what version of Dux-Soup are you using?
Me? I don't even know. I mean, I've used a few of them, so I guess it's like if you want to go in the cloud, if you want to do Teams. But what levels do you guys have now? I mean, I just keep on using it. So,
so our most popular is now our cloud version.
Okay.
Prior to the launch of cloud, we had Turbo. So the difference between those,
Turbo, I use Turbo.
yeah. So the difference between those two packages, obviously, in the cloud, you can close your laptop, set all your activities. Well, set your activities before you close your laptop. Then you can go on holiday, and they run in the background and carry on. With Turbo, you don't have that continuation feature, so you need to have your laptop open in order for those activities to continue to work. So that's the main difference there.
I think, Joe, there's also the, again, it's another case study or an article or webinar. Michael Simpson of Ideas First. He set up 2 campaigns to around, I think, 3,500 contacts from memory. Then went on holiday to New Zealand for a month. And whilst he was away, Dux-Soup cloud version was just running. And he came back to a number of booked meetings, qualified prospects, and a ton of interest.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely. What else have we got? Robert has asked, now apologies, this doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Zoom info. Have you used the insights feature for additional sourcing of intent identification?
Yeah, I've used that before. The reality is any of those intent stuff in Zoom info, everyone has the same intent structure. So everyone's going after the same people with the same messaging. I rarely ever, like I register multiple events just to see if people are going to reach out to me. And usually when people reach out, they're like, oh, I'm also doing an event. Would you like to go? No one has done what I do. So that is the best intent cycle. You know, the data on Zoom info is awesome. Yeah, for intent, nothing beats having someone who's taken that action to go find a problem on LinkedIn, find that there's an event about it, registered for an event. That's just the best intent I've seen out there.
Yeah, awesome. At the moment, it looks like we've got 2 questions left. Robert has asked, again, we've got some nice acronyms here. Do you think of this in terms of the funnel? And then we've got TOF, MOF, BOF in LinkedIn postings. TOF.
Top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel. Yes, absolutely. So I like to have my content a mixture of that. Usually Fridays I would do a bottom of funnel where it's a success story of a client. Mondays again is that kind of top of funnel, and then Wednesday or Thursday some middle of funnel. You know, showing how I operate and showing something that a client would get from me if they used my system. So I give a carousel or I do a lead magnet. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And then the last question is from Stefan. Does Dux-Soup help with this, with the borrowing of participants from competitors' events?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do it if someone has liked a post. You can hit the like, and it pulls up all the people who liked it, and then you can use Dux-Soup to visit those people. Or you can go in and visit everyone on the attendee list, download the data, then upload it into a saved list. So LinkedIn will help you. Dux-Soup will help you with that.
Yeah, awesome. We've just had one more pop in. Let me have a look. Robert just said, thank you for answering all of his questions. You're welcome, Robert, and everyone else for that matter. Stefan, thanks. Great show as always. You're welcome. And
Joe, there was one other comment, I think. It wasn't a question, which is why I don't think you've used it. But one of the users said they set up the first drip campaign on Dux-Soup yesterday, and they had 75% acceptance rate from their first drip campaign to a highly targeted audience. So that, to me, it just underlines everything Tyron has said on this webinar, is that you can dive in, get started, and you can start seeing results quickly. I think use the blueprint to give you structure on what you're doing, and try and use as many of the tips as possible that Tyron's outlined.
Yeah, absolutely. I will just let everybody know the next webinar that's coming up, which I think you can all see now, is how to manage multiple LinkedIn accounts with Dux-Soup. So whether you're team, agency, solopreneur, doesn't matter. If you're using multiple LinkedIn accounts, then this session on the 19th of August will talk you through, show you how to use the various different plans that we have to manage those multiple accounts, regardless of what your budget is. So join us then. I think there's a link somewhere. Oh, it's in the box, isn't it? New little box on the right-hand side that says next webinar on it. And if you click on the details below, then it will take you to the registration page. So you'll have yourself locked in for that already. And that's in a month's time. I think realistically, all that's left really, because we are quite over time, is to say a big thank you to everybody for joining today. And most importantly, thank you to Tyron for giving up his time and his wisdom and his experience. Yes, it was as you said, it was a content heavy session, but there's so much good stuff in there. We've been asked by quite a few people if we're happy, or if you're happy to share the slides, and if you are, then we can do that. If not, you'll just have to watch the webinar over and over again, won't you? Write your notes down, but don't forget to click on that checklist that Tyron has shared with everybody in the top right corner. You will be notified by email when the on-demand version is up and ready, and all of that content stays live. So even if you haven't managed to download it right now, you'll still be able to download it tomorrow. So don't worry about that.
Great. Excellent. Thank you very much. That was great.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Tyron. And we'll see you in a month's time, everybody.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.